elitist, nameless, observational scientist people that telekinesis with me that I don't, because you have computer-enhanced program things to connect with me, okay? No. Edra's not the problem, and I do have the desire to couple with her and love her, but it won't fix or help her, just like with Amy and others, and you know, or the way that I try to show affection and help my father see or my sisters or their, it's not their fault. No, it's not. No. They are completely irrational. I'll admit it. Okay, you're sitting there telling Jesus what Jesus said, and she's beautiful, but she kept on sitting there. She goes, "You're not listening to me." It's like, that's because I've heard what you're telling me 1,000 million zillion times, and it's not rational. Okay, and she said, there is hell. It does. It's a disease. It's eternal hellfire on earth. And if the sun goes supernova, what happens to that eternal hellfire in the center of earth? It becomes a part of a raging supernova across the galaxy that then spreads and then evolves into a black hole, which starts all over again. There's no such thing as reincarnation. I agree. But there is such thing as molecular transfiguratory states of being and relative. You're talking about stuff that doesn't make any sense. No, I make perfect sense. You don't. Okay? Hell cannot be an eternal hellfire in the center of the earth because the earth is not to be eternal. No. If there is a disturbance in the universe and the earth is destroyed and it becomes part of a supernova, it is not an eternal hellfire on planet earth when earth no longer exists. Okay, do you understand? Okay, I'm trying to explain things to you in a relative, molecular, eternal fashion in a constant state of flux in a universe that is eternal, always has been and always will be, and real builds upon components of itself as discussed in the book of Genesis. Do you understand the math abilities that I have and that I can explain things mathematically in relative and molecular and eternal math equations like Jesus? No, Jesus was saying this and you don't get it. Heaven is a physical place, yes. In a physical place you can have a state of being where you have heavenly states of being in a physical place. Because it's hard not to have heaven in a place that's not physical. Because there's always a physical place you exist, even if you're part of a supernova going across the galaxy, where it seems like, and it will be, a long time. Do you understand? That seems like you'd be part of an eternal hellfire. Do you think? Okay, I love you guys. You're being a condescending asshole. No! What about you? Sitting there telling the person who is like Jesus in spirit what he was saying, what he's thinking, when he can explain it to you in scientific certainty and factual, actual evidence, and you're telling him stuff that cannot possibly exist mathematically. You cannot have an eternal hellfire on planet Earth if planet Earth blows up in a supernova. Do you understand what I'm talking about? It has to be based on reality, and I have to be able to explain it in rational-based, mathematical, scientific components based on relative and molecular math and eternal, infinite mathematics. Do you understand? It's faith based on reality. You're a jerk. I'm not a jerk! They're not crazy. No. Because you guys are in charge of the media and promote and sell this stuff and then can decide whether or not if I'm made public for people to be able to understand, comprehend, and practically apply. So you're in control of the media, so I blame you for perpetuating this insane stupidity and then say, they're crazy, they're stupid, they need to be mass murdered. All right, and it's because they're crazy. Okay, now wait a minute. Let's go back to why I hate religion and love Jesus. Yeah, oh boy, that kid. If you hate religion so much, why do you talk in the same manner as all these religious people do in non-equatable, non-understandable Jesus math proofs? God wants you to be happy. God has a plan for you. You sat there and gave a whole speech about that, about how you hate religion but love Jesus. And then you start talking about like you know better than Jesus. And Jesus never tells you that. And even Edra comes up there and told me that. She goes, Jesus can't even tell you when this stuff's supposed to happen, whenever, stuff like that. Well, I can now because it's actually happening. But it's not actually set in stone that it can happen. But if we act in accordance to intelligence and look to see that we can practically apply and adhere to the book of Revelation. Now the book of Revelation tells you when the apocalypse comes we get 1,000 years till Jesus. Okay, let's do that. Well, no, because not even when the end of the earth he doesn't know. Exactly, he doesn't know. when the end of time on earth is and exactly when it will be, because it's predicated on free will. Okay, God gave us free will, which is why I explained to them. They sit there and go, God had decided Jesus should die. It was God's will that Jesus should die because God gave them free will, and they freely will chose to murder their own messenger. Okay, they killed the voice of God that day. How? Well, then he was God. No. He wasn't speaking for God. He was speaking his perspective of what he was sharing with him, because God speaks through all of us. God's angry, God's mad, God's stupid, God's smart, God's intelligent, God's omnipotent and omnipresent. I can only give you a more omnipotent and omnipresent comprehensive understanding than you're giving me, because you're saying you're speaking for God. And if you say you're speaking exclusively for God, you need to go back and check the Ten Commandments. Thou shalt not use the Lord's name in vain. That means I can't say, gee, damn it, when I slam my head with a hammer. No, that's not it. Okay. That's not using the Lord's name in vain. That's just trying to blame God for yourself being stupid enough to hit your phone with a hammer. It's kind of dumb. But using the Lord's name in vain is implying vanity, that you know what God is thinking, and you yourself is God in totality and can tell everybody exactly what God is doing and thinking, that you are the omnipresent, omnipotent life source of all source of being. Jesus wouldn't do that. Why? Because he can read the Ten Commandments, follow the Commandments, and practice the Ten Commandments, because he's a molecular similitude of Moses, who gave you the Ten Commandments. There's no such thing as reincarnation. I agree. He's a molecular similitude, like an apple on a tree and a similar apple that grew back on the same tree. But the tree changes is never the same tree, and the apple's never the same apple, but it's of the same source of life, same source of being, and of the same spirit. Of the same apple? Yes. Do you get it? That's the knowledge of the apple. You're crazy. No, you deal with me. Most atheists are starting to get this, guys. Yes. I'm converting atheists into believers and leaving, quote, Christians behind. And I keep telling them, everybody's a Christian. It's non-negotiable. No, we're not all Christians. Yes, we are. No, we're not. You have to behave like me to be a Christian. Then you're not a Christian. Well, you are a Christian, but you choose not to see the life of Christ in everybody, so you're not behaving like a Christian. You're actually behaving like Satan. Why? Well, because you're sitting there saying that you don't understand the Ten Commandments, and you're saying the Lord's name in vain, so you say who's a Christian and who's not a Christian. I say everyone's a Christian. Why? Well, because Christ means the anointed one, which means the one most loved by the Father. Now, if God made you all, God loves us all equally, because God's a better Father than I am, and I try to love everybody equally, and I know God is a better parent than I am. So God loves all of God's creation, but we choose to... Help me, please. Guys, look, now, how can I share and teach with people, with a bunch of people in the mass media who aren't going to help me explain this intelligently to people, because they still want to make money off of everything, destroy everything, and celebrate all the stuff that they made to destroy everything? Yeah. Hello? I'm awfully agitated right now. Do you understand? Gosh darn it. Agitated. Extremely agitated. Why? Well, I'm the son of man. I'm the similitude of the spirit of the man that they've made into a god that they don't understand, and then you guys claim to understand it, but you don't understand either, and this is so simple, and I'm like sitting there going, how are they not getting this? I feel like freaking... Was it John Lovitz who was it? I can't remember the other guy's name. The guy who plays the little Hitler funny guy on Rat Race. I forget his name. When he's playing Dukakis and Dana's playing Bush, and Dukakis they're baiting, and Dukakis says stuff that makes sense, and he starts talking about stuff like, well, we got to do this to stop global warming, and do this, and stop crime, and restructure how we do things, because economically we're in the Stone Age still. And Bush gets up there and goes, well, zippity-dabba-dee-dabba-dee. I think we ought to play football and have a good time, and then how about a barbecue? Stuff that they go to the caucus. Well, if we restructure our educational system to where we're making it possible for more Americans to be educated in an intelligent manner, so they could manage their resources better on a local level, instead of government having to come and control everything, because people are more well educated to do it at their at a local level, I mean, this would probably be a better idea than everybody coming and telling everybody else how to do things. And then we could spread out our knowledge and then learn and see what happens. But the knowledge would not always be the same application given the conditions of the geography and the needs of the people. And so okay. Mr. President Bush. Well, I think if we all just toss a coin up and comes up heads, we'll all just do it that way, and that sounds like a good... So, Caucus looks over in the camera and goes, can you believe I'm losing to this guy? That's what I feel like. Can you believe I'm losing to you people? Can you believe that you guys are the way, the truth, and the life according to mass media and TV and YouTube, and I'm a crazy man that needs to be locked up and sedated, and they take my kids, and I can't even afford to try to be treated with decency, to have the comfort of the feeling like I'm still going to have a place to stay and somewhere to eat and a woman to love me and appreciate me for who I am. It's horrible. It's just horrible. They couldn't have written down and came up with a worse hell than what we're living through today and what you guys are putting me through. Okay? But I still love you. Because I'm crazy, So maybe I do need to be locked up and sedated. I guess you guys are right. Sedate me, lock me up. I'm a complete loon. Because I love you people with every ounce of my being and more. Well, because I love you beyond my physical being. I love you spiritually, and I love your soul. But you hate Jesus. You hate me. I don't worry about that. She goes, no, he was perfect and without sin and didn't ever have sex. You said he was married to and made love to Mary Magdalene. Yeah, and he liked it. So he told me. I'm him. So she really is. She's beautiful. She's courageous. She's strong. If you read the ministry of Jesus and read about Mary and the way it all works, they manipulate the stories to make her look bad, but she's not bad and she's really good. And she takes care of him. She's his benefactor. She keeps him safe. She keeps him calm. She calms him down, keeps him from getting too hot-headed. The whole reason he gets to fulfill the whole mission of the ministry is because she helped keep him alive. And part of keeping him alive was making love to her husband whenever they could, because she knows he needs that from her. And it's kind of described in the Gospels. When he saves her, when Caiaphas tries to take his concubine and murder her, he tries to keep her safe because he can't be without her, and he knows Jesus is going to die, and then Mary will come to him, and that's what he's thinking. She leaves, which is cool. Yeah, she doesn't stay around Caiaphas. She can't stand him. After that, even more. You asshole. I mean, you had a chance to submit to Jehovah and help change and start the kingdom today. And to have me to have as your concubine, you let them murder my husband. You think I was going to stay here and be your well-kept concubine? I'll leave, and I'll go die a bitter, a lonely, sad, hopeful woman that I know the world's not going to change overnight, but my spirit is going to have to do the same thing my husband does. And hopefully I won't be next to you, Caiaphas, because I don't like you. She doesn't like you. She doesn't like Caiaphas. No, she's not fond of Herod either. And she's never real fond of Pilate. She thinks Pilate wimped out on it. He had stay of execution. And he could have just said, no, this man's right. You should seriously think about making him your king. He's the most amazing man I've ever met in my life. And I won't crucify him. I have stay of execution, and I pardon the innocent man, Jesus, because I want to believe in his Jehovah as well, because I have to believe that there is a greater intelligence and a greater way of life than what is presented in the bureaucracy of Rome and the idiocracy of the Senate and the human divinity of Tiberiuses and Caligulas and Neros and the like that come before or after or whenever. Yeah, no, there's no way Caesar's a living God. He's just a man. Jesus is just a man, but when I'm near him, I feel like he has more of the life of God in him than Caesar ever thought about having. Because he makes me feel it in myself. It's cool, man. She loves him so well that he sees God better than a lot of people do. Because with a wife that loves you in an eternal sense, that's pretty special. You're going to have to see that. Okay? Stop telling the similitude of Jesus what Jesus is thinking and saying. Please. I beg of you. Okay? This is the equivalent of it is basically what you're doing. Okay? You're walking up to Jesus and telling him, no, you're all wrong. Here's what you're saying. And then you keep telling him, shut up. If you just shut up and quit over talking to me and listen, it's like you don't understand. I've heard what you're telling me from 1,000 other people, if not more. And I explain it to him how mathematically it's completely elusive and makes no sense. Okay, and then I explained it to you verbatim in very intelligent math, and the best part was the end of the conversation we had, and I love her, but I'm like sitting there going, okay, if hell is the eternal hellfire in Earth, what happens when the sun goes supernova, which does happen, and eventually will happen with the disturbances in the universe coming to either this way or that way? What happens to the eternal hellfire in the citadel of Earth when Earth is no longer there? Will it exist? Will hell exist? Well, it'll sure seem like it, yeah, in a supernova. Now, it's going to seem like it lasts eternally because it's going to go across the galaxy at lightning speed. Then it's going to retract, and it's going to evolve into a black hole, and then the components of it are going to rebirth again, and then you're going to have a forming of a new galaxy, which takes billions of years to reform, and then if you're lucky, like a apple seed on a tree, it'll create similar conditions to create a Milky Way galaxy, with a third rock from a sun that evolves, that it gives life to the similar components that are there to human beings again. But the components were awfully wow, the way they set up. There was an asteroidal impact from across the galaxy that hit this rock right perfectly to develop an atmosphere and a moon, and then boom, 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 and it showed intelligent thinking from outside the galaxy. So it's like, we were created from alien life, or possibly from but it's an asteroid. It's not an actual, we're going to send a ship across to hit it just perfectly. So you think there's some kind of an intelligent life source that is creating this, that goes beyond our head, like a sperm hitting an egg. And it's so cool, man. You sit down and look at it, it's like, you see why Muhammad and Jesus believe in God? And a creative life source of being that evolves into something that's greater than you could ever imagine. And if you, like Bob Marley said, if you knew what life is worth, you'd live for years on Earth. Yeah, it's not a ship. It's an asteroid, okay, that comes and hits the other. Well, we blew up ours just perfectly and aimed this blow-up from our planet from across the galaxy to hit the Earth. And it would go through all this menage-matage of galaxy stuff, and it would make its way through Jupiter, through Saturn, through Uranus. Hit it perfectly. Bam! Develop the atmosphere, develop the moon, then develop people that evolve, and it's just like, wow, what are the odds of people being able to pull this off? Titan A. I don't know, man. What does it make me believe in? God. I just think there's something that happens that creates life in some amazing, spectacular, scientific, evolutionary, creative ways that are just beyond my conception. I like Pascal. I like him too. I like that intuitive mind. It's better than scientific mind? Oh, yeah. Well, because it can explain things like, wow, that's greater than anything I could ever conceive. Tell me about it, man. Think about it. That's way cool. Way cool. And then another asteroid, well, it evolved without human life. And then another asteroidal impact hits with components from somewhere across the galaxy that joins the primordial mix and evolves into something known as like Homo erectus or Homo sapien that came from another part of the galaxy. So other parts are like, yeah, it's weird. I don't know how it works, man. But it's cool. Okay. Does it reform on itself in the same things I understand? You're going to have to ask God that one. I don't know. I'm not God. I'm not going to use the Lord's name today. I just think it's way cool. Guys, if there's a chance, we could fulfill the book of Revelation, man, like build that spaceship, that goes through a vortex of things that we had to help create because it was connections to other things across the galaxy that we have trouble just even conceiving or comprehending, but then we go, and we can find a place where there's a similar lack of sacrifice on a similar planet somewhere in a galaxy far, far away. Like Jesus and John are kind of telling us about the Book of Revelation. I mean, what the heck? I mean, let's save our planet, watch what's happening in the universe, put into our space system to do this stuff, and stop using our resources to extort and mass murder what it's on planet Earth, and start putting life back into our planet, appreciating and loving what little time we've got left. I mean, 2,500 years is little time left in the grand scheme of things, and but it's still some pretty good time to get with a really bunch of beautiful people and enjoy their company. You can still play some football, some basketball, some baseball, do some dancing, some singing, some food. But always remember, we always have to work diligently on understanding the life of sacrifice, preserving it, taking care of it, nurturing it, and teaching people how to appreciate it without being complete a-holes to one another. What say you? Ralph, you're crazy and you don't know what you're talking about. I told you guys to call me. There's telekinesis with me and stuff like that. I want you to do it while you're awake, not while you're asleep. Okay? So this whole living dead thing is not working for us. So you want to wake up so we can have a more fulfilling spiritual relationship, and then turn it into sometimes physical, because I like getting physical. It's really affected me a lot in my life, okay? I like my physical health, and I'm appreciative of my physical body, so I really do believe this. I don't think I'm crazy. I think if I get the right when, I'm not going to say if anymore, when, man, when I get in the right kind of social conditions where people treat me right, and I get the right wife that wants to spend the rest of her life loving Ralphie, and Ralphie loving her, I think physically you will see the effects of how a good woman can affect a good man in a very positive way through real faith, character, trust, and honor. Because trust, honor, and character will only lie with those who are worthy men. And that money, she's a whore. She'll lie with anybody. And so you guys can go lay with that hoe and enjoy her. But I want a trustful, honor-filled, character-filled wife for me to spend the rest of my life with. Man, can I? Crazy people, may I? Oh, come on, man. It's all relatively and molecularly connected, man. And God gave you free will to be a jerk or a decent person. Guys are like me, man. I think I earned a position of some kind of mutual dignity, honor, and respect to have the circumstances for this possibility in Ralphie's little life. So, like in the book of Job, only better this time because the kids can get not put in the same heinous conditions, because the people all come around and go, we like Ralphie, little Job. Let's help out little Ralphie Job. Okay, what are we going to do? Be nice to him and cool to him. Cool. All right, man, so let's start doing this. All right, cool. So I can see my kids again. Everything's going to be cool. And they're going to, yeah, it's good to respect your dad. He's a good guy, just like old little Job. It's little Ralphie. Hi, how are you doing? And then I can get a wife and some other kids, because it was wife and other kids. I would really love, because since I got kids, I would love a mom, a single mom that's into me. If that's at all possible, please, dear Jehovah. I'm just kidding around. But you see what I'm saying? So, because I love kids. I really love kids. It's one of my favorite things in all of life is spending time with kids, enjoying kids, appreciating kids, and having fun with kids. And please leave Emily and Patrick alone, you psychopath creepazoids, because I can't wait for them to have a nice, wonderful relationship. So when they start working on grandkids, it's like, bring the baby Grandpa's house. Grandpa wants to spoil baby. Not too much, but, oh yeah, too much. Oh, well, not. Please, bring baby to Grandpa. Bring Grandpa baby. Well, I figure I'll have a little bit more time to really be secure and have a place and enjoy the baby, now I won't have to be going to war with Panama and Iraq, during the baby time. Won't have to have 2 jobs because, and then the other times with the babies, it was great with Kate, but while I was being a Kate had to go get another job and then have to suffer her mom screwing everybody in town. I mean, could I have time with a baby where I'm just loving the baby and she's not ready to get ready to run off to Europe with some psychopath or what, you know what I mean? Where I just get the baby and just go, you guys go have fun. Take a 3-day weekend. I've got a place to stay. People treat me wise. We have food. And the baby. I just get to enjoy the baby. No worries, just the baby. Only worry is make sure baby is comfortable and loved. And then when baby starts walking around, not put stuff in baby's mouth baby shouldn't, and not try to stick stuff in light socket. Okay. Sound like fun? Darn it, people. Please. Oh, come on. You guys are all close to insanity, man. Like the last sane person on planet Earth, man. Bring me your babies so I can raise your babies not to be crazy and apathetic and just, you know, not like you. Some entertainment is good. Some superficiality is good, but not complete superficiality and entertainment. Get the house cleaned up, and then you can have field grading for a couple of hours, okay? Get this done, and then you can have that, okay? Get your stuff uptight and get it down right. Then we can have some superficiality and jocularity. We can have fun along the way. I'm having fun right now sometimes helping you guys out, but it's not real fun just beating the crap out of your head on a wall with a bunch of people that don't comprehend and understand simplistic, commonsensical terms. I'll be back. We've got to talk about Mr. I hate Jesus. I mean, hate religion, but love Jesus. Be back. Love you. Okay. Love you guys. All right. Blessings and peace.